6 o'clock. So if we could do roll call, please.
Chris Brown? Here. Adam Carson?
Here.
Linda Hoke? Here. Lindsay Keisman?
Here.
Ray Lapinus?
Here.
Amy Rath?
Here.
John Reinhardt? Carolyn Schofield?
Here.
Connie Machini?
Here. Public comment. If anybody wants to make public comment to address the board, please stand, use the microphone, state your name, and limit it to 3 minutes, please.
Oh, hello?
You're
Cool.
on.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank the board again for the support over the years for all of our programs. And a good announcement, we're finally breaking ground on the apartment building in Woodstock on Friday. So we have a groundbreaking ceremony at 11 a.m. on Friday. As everybody knows, as you may know, I'm stepping down as of Friday, so that will be my last day. I will break ground on the new project. And our longtime housing director, Dan Woodward, will be stepping in as interim director. And I just want to take this last opportunity to thank you guys for all the financial support and community support over the years for everything we've been doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello,
You can bring it
everybody.
down to you.
I'm a little shorter than Bobby. Apologize for that. As Bobby said, I'll be the interim executive director. I want to share with you that I'm one of the success stories of New Directions when they first opened in 2017. Of course, at that time, Bobby was my case manager, and I've been with them ever since and pretty much held every role within New Directions up to this point. I do want to thank you all for all your support over the years. Our services are important to the people in the community, especially those in need, and I just want to give you a special thanks. That's all I got.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for public comment?
Ben Farmer, New Directions. I was also a resident at New Directions for about 2 years, and then I've been working with them for coming up on 4 years right now. And I just wanted to also give a big thanks for all the support you've given to be able to help change, at this point, thousands of lives, my life including. And yeah, just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Christy Hartman. I'm with New Directions. I'm Community Programs Manager, and I run the hotline over there. All the people that we hire are in recovery, and just them working there is changing their lives. We are now, with your support, able to help people that come into the emergency room, and we're able to place them into beds, right, directly from the emergency room now. So thank you so much for that. And when they say thank you for saving lives, I mean, we're really saving lives. Even people that have been in long-term recovery, that relapse or hit a bump in the road, they have our phone number now. They can access services with us confidentially before telling everybody, you know, in their life. They might just need a hand up real quick, or maybe a quick IOP over at Rosecrans or Gateway. So I really just wanted to thank you so much for helping the community.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I'm a lot shorter. So I'm Winter No, Executive Director over at Options and Advocacy. And I want to start off by saying congratulations to Bridget. I'm so excited to work with you some more, and wise decision to all of you. So good job on that. I also want to introduce Darby Carbone. She has been around for a while. You might have met her before. She's done public comment in the past, and she's been with our Autism Resource Center for 8 years. And I want to say that I've known Darby for at least 10 or 12 years, at least. Yeah, because we first met when Darby called the Autism Support Program back in the day and needed educational advocacy supports. And from that very first phone call, I'm going to get emotional, okay, because it's cool story. She was a rock star, and she was not only an amazing mother, but going to be a phenomenal advocate, and she was. 8 years ago, we were able to have a peer parent mentor position, right? Did I say that right? Yeah. And we knew it had to be Darby. She transitioned right into that role, supported hundreds of parents going through similar situations, was able to guide them, organize groups for them, events for them in the community. She was awesome. Soon after that, a service coordination position opened, and we saw how many wonderful talents that Darby had beyond, being a mom of a kiddo, right? And she was able to step in, and at that time, the service coordinator was all the things. It was the resource and referral linkage. It was the educational advocacy. It was family home visiting. It was everything, and she carried a substantial caseload. And she killed it. She's amazing. Everybody wants Darby, right? Well, then our team, with all of your support, continued to grow, and we were able to support more and more people in our community. And we realized the structures of our program had to change a bit. We couldn't handle these caseloads of 80 and more. That was just not feasible. And so we started changing our team into primary roles, and Darby then became an educational advocate full-time. Again, supporting hundreds of students and families, to then be our lead educational advocate, right? And today, 8 years later, Darby has made so many positive relationships in our community with our network partners, with our school team members in the county, with families and clients, that I am so very, very proud and happy to tell you that she is now our program manager of the Autism Resource Center. So thank you all for supporting us over these years, and I really encourage you to schedule some time with us, come over, get to know Darby as she steps into this position. She's got vision, she's resilient, she understands non-for-profit world at this point, and she's sticking around, so thank you all.
Thank you. Congratulations. Anybody else have any public comment? Okay. If not, we need an approval for the minutes of July 29th, August 4th, August 5th, and August 19th. Second?
Second.
Okay. Oh, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, passed. We have a presentation, but Donna's not here, so what we'll do is we'll go on. Maybe she's running late. And so under my report, in your packet is staff and board changes and updates, which will go on later. But as you know, Bridget is the new ED. We will be adding a deputy director and looking to replace her position. Oh, you can't hear me? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not talking. We'll be looking at replacing Bridget's position with an administrative assistant or executive assistant, whatever the title is, and adding a deputy director. And you'll see it later in your packet. The annual summit is September 12th at MCC. Please sign up for it. It's in your packet. And the training and educational opportunities are there too. So, and there are quite a few each month that you can. I was going through mine. I have to get all my CEUs for my license together, and we have done some really good things in the last couple years, so that's there. Operational report, Bridget?
If you have any questions, I would
You wanna
actually
highlight?
point out the one item about the grant, and I did reach out to Adam, that the capital grant was denied, so we may want to consider having some building and grounds committee meetings to discuss how you want to move forward with that.
Are there any questions on the operational report? Okay. If not, then we'll move on to the bylaw committee. Pardon me? Oh, I'm sorry.
That we are applying for the bathroom?
We have one other, it's a smaller grant that's sitting out there, and we'll keep seeking others. We'll seek others, but that was the most promising one that we had.
Okay. Ray, do you want to do your bylaw report? It was a short meeting, but,
We had our bylaws meeting just before this meeting. There was no real major changes to the bylaws discussed. The actual meeting lasted 7 minutes, so there's not too much to update.
okay. If there are no questions, we'll move on to Lindsay, Finance and Audit.
We did not have a Finance and Audit Committee meeting since the last time. If anybody has any questions over budget information, I'm sure we'll be having more discussions once Donna gives her presentation, but otherwise, everything's pretty straightforward.
Any questions? Okay. Then we'll move on to the consent agenda. 6A through 6D, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda, 6A, 6B, 6C, and 6D as shown on the agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, vote on your little thing. Okay, that is passed. Old business. We have no old business to discuss, so we go on to the new business. We have 2 items under new business. One is the reclassification for the positions that I talked about in mine. This is a resolution and forms we need to move forward to the county. So I need a motion to approve that. The reclassification of positions.
I'll make a motion to approve the reclassification of positions.
Second?
I'll second.
Lindsay seconded? Okay. Can vote on here? And that has passed. Funding request. This is, I want you to know the funding request is in there. It's outside our mid-year allocation. Okay, it's passed. Okay. Funding request, this is outside our mid-year allocations. This is a discussion item, it's nothing to vote on. We need to discuss as a board how we want to handle funding requests that come in after we've said our mid-year allocation process, which we've done. So I'm throwing it out to all of you. How do you want to proceed with this? Do you want to accept them? If it's not an emergency, I'm throwing it out to you. Okay. Carolyn,
Thanks. Was there something in here? I didn't see anything specific to this. It was just discussion. Okay.
yeah, because we are receiving one.
I mean, I thought that we had very clear direction and that we were having that mid-year to prevent it from coming up every meeting unless it was an emergency. So, I mean, I think that if there's an emergency and we need to discuss that, it can come before us. But that's where I thought we were at.
I'll just say I agree with you. I thought unless it was like a furnace went out in the middle of the winter or something and they didn't have money, an emergency. Otherwise, we set it up as a mid-year.
And I just want to add to that. I thought we had, I mean, this has been about a year now that we've been discussing it. So I think there's been a lot of notification that this is the direction that we were heading. And I think we were doing it for the good of everybody. So they had a very clear understanding of when, and everyone was kind of on the same playing field and being able to apply at the same time and have the same opportunity to those funds. So I'm very comfortable with our policy that we have, and I think it was really good and solid that we put that in place. So I personally would like to stick through to that.
Okay. Lindsay?
I'm with Carolyn on this one. I think we have been very clear, and I think it's up to our staff to determine what exactly an emergency would be to then decide to present it to the board. So unless they're feeling like it is, then I think we should stick with the plan as we've always seen it or been talking about it. And you're right, it's been a year we've been talking about it, and for good reason. So I guess what I'm saying is I trust our staff's discretion if they're going to make an exception to show it to us, that there would be really good cause for whatever that exception would be, so.
And our staff has backed us. I want you to know that. But they wanted us to discuss it, so. Amy, I'm going to turn you on there.
I'm also in agreement, but Lindsay, I think you brought up an interesting point, and so I don't mean to extend the discussion, but would we want to, I would be comfortable if the staff simply told somebody coming forward with a request, this isn't an emergency if it's not, and then we never hear about it. I just wanted to put that out there. Like, is there some reason we would want to know that something came through even though we weren't going to take action, or should we just leave it completely in the hands of the staff? And I'm comfortable with them completely making the decision.
I am too. Seems like Lindsay's and Carolyn is too. Any other discussion? Because this was just a discussion item. Okay. Then we know where we stand and the staff knows where it is. Okay. Well, we're already down, boy, I'm being as fast as you are. We're on a roll. Is there any member comment? If there's no member comment, I know that you all know and have the schedule for October when we have to look at our allocations, that they will have 3 meetings possibly in October. Yes? Did she answer you? Okay. Okay, go ahead.
As long as you're talking about that, and I apologize, Bridget, I know you had brought up the books and how we weren't getting books, but do you know, like, timeline of when we're gonna get, yeah.
Well, it says early September, so we're still reviewing. So hopefully within the next 2 weeks. 2 weeks would be.
And then you'll send out an email like in the past that says it's now available on, are we using that same system?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And also, I was thinking about sending out a survey to all of you to see what other information you would like us to prepare before then, if that is something you want to do, or do you want to just email me if you have any other information that hasn't been provided that would be helpful. We've had a couple discussions on, I know you said a list of trainings, like those types of things. Is there anything else that we as staff could provide that would be helpful for those decisions?
Like general, like to fill gaps maybe or something like that?
Yeah. Okay. So. Okay.
What do you want, Linda? I didn't. Whoops.
I would just like to meet with somebody for to get some training and
Sure.
the process.
Okay. There you go, Ray.
I was going to mention as well that I don't need a binder because this will be the 3rd year I'm doing it electronically. The only thing I request are those large spreadsheets.
Okay. Yeah, as of right now, we're doing virtual binders, and we're going to print off the spreadsheets. If anybody wants something other than a virtual binder, if you want all of the information printed off, we can do that, but we are doing virtual. So you'll get a link, and you'll be able to access everything through that link.
Sounds good. Chris?
Yeah, that spreadsheet's huge already, but I was trying to figure out if there would be a way to be able to incorporate an organization's reported performance metrics, like they are self-evaluation, they have evidence-based instruments, they've given us data about their outcomes. Can we see that, like, with the asks that we're reviewing?
We'll ask Vicki and
Okay.
see how she feels we can incorporate that.
Okay. Is there anything else? Did you hear back from Donna?
And I did email her earlier today, so maybe something came up.
Well, we can bring her in
Yeah.
September. It's not like it's now or never. Okay,
Come to the finance committee too.
yeah. When is that?
I don't have the date, but finance is usually before we meet, so.
Oh, I do have it somewhere. Wait,
September 16th for finance, which would be a week before our regular meeting.
and that's at 5? Yes. Okay.
Connie, we could recess for 10 minutes and see if we get in touch with her.
You know, why don't you just let me call her? I have her number. Okay, you want to call?
Why don't we take a recess so we don't lose on the record?
Okay, we'll take a 5-minute recess.
Can somebody do a motion?
And
and
so
second
you guys in the
recess?
back, you don't have
I'll
to
make
stay.
a motion to go into a 5-minute recess.
Okay. That will be 6:29 we
favor?
return. Aye.
I do this? Should I talk?
Or you can,
Sit in the chair, yeah.
Sit in the chair?
Yeah, yeah. That way our online people can hear.
Oh, very good. Okay, am I on? Yeah?
Yeah, you're on.
Very nice. Well, great to see all of you again. I know many of you over many years, and those that I don't, my loss, but I hope to get to know you better, like Linda. And so thank you very much for having me. My name is Donna Kurtz. I'm the McHenry County Treasurer, and one of my jobs is to invest money, public funds related to the county. And so the Mental Health Board falls into this category. So let's talk about what that entails. Let's see, shall I just
can you bring
point
it up
the-
over here? No?
I'm just wondering which clicker to go with. By the way, this, oh, maybe I'm pressing the wrong arrow. Yeah, I think it's on. Oh, thank you, I'm so sorry. Oh, I could just say go or something. Next slide. Hey, the old manual approach. So next slide. Thank you. Thank you, guys. You guys are so adaptable. Great team. So what we want to talk about today is county investment status. I want to give you a sense of not my first rodeo when it comes to investing. I've been doing this, as Ray knows, for many years. I was actually a licensed financial advisor. I do employ an investment management team, and they actually do the investment for us. And we've got a great team. I'll talk about that when we get to the next steps. This, to me, is an action-oriented meeting. I want you guys to, have a clear view of, hey, we can make some decisions, and we'll get back to Donna. This is not an opportunity for you to learn something and then think about it. This is really, I want you to be thinking about this in terms of action that will benefit your constituents in the mental health arena, your DD, your DASA, and your MI population. So with that, want to talk about the county investment status. I want to talk about my investment management role. Very briefly, then how we invest. And by the way, that is regulated by law. So no fear of anything getting lost in the shuffle of investing. Then I want to talk about the MHB investment opportunity. We manage your money. We have your money and have access to that. So I've actually got a bank, kind of a bank statement type of informational to share with you. It won't be new for you, but it might make you look at the numbers a little bit differently. I want to talk a little bit about today's bond market and how that relates to money that you could be making. And by the way, I want to say you've done the right thing. Per your situation at this time, you do have your money in a bank that is making interest. And we'll talk about that briefly. You can do far better. And in fact, there are reasons why you should move into an investment management situation. We'll talk about next steps and then any questions that you have. So next slide, please. Oh, thank you. And by the way, what is your name?
Joe.
Joe. Okay, great. Thank you, Joe. All right. So I just want to have you understand that we are doing a lot of investing. Last year, we generated over $3 million. This is with various other similar kind of environments. Transportation has been a huge winner. One of the things, if you guys know Scott Hennings, one of the deputy chiefs, he says to me, Donna, I love investing with you. And I'm like, really? How come? And he goes, well, because every year you make us enough money to build a bridge.
And we do. We make them, because they have new money, they're making about $1.25 million a year. Now we have legacy investments, and that kind of slows us down a little bit because of the lower interest rates. But you're still at a place where you can lock into some good rates. So next slide, Joe. So just want you to know my investment management role. It's a pleasure to have this kind of responsibility, but it is governed by the statutes. So should a public entity in the county want to invest, then they do come to me, and yet they have the assurance that we do it in a very structured and specific manner. So let's go to the next slide, Joe. And I just want you to know we follow the Public Investment Act. I actually have created a investment policy. This is my second iteration. I'm going to be doing it again. And the reason is we have moved forward. We're getting more sophisticated in our investments. Nothing complicated or fancy. No, we don't do Bitcoin. We don't. Cyber currencies, et cetera. Nope, we don't do that. But what we do is we have a variety of bonds that we do use, and that allows us to really optimize our returns while still minimizing our risk. And I'll talk about that in a second. But I do want to say that this is for the protection of the taxpayers. Investing can be very appropriate, but it must always do, Joe, go to the next slide, it must be risk adverse, which means that, Joe, we don't invest in equities. Stocks are not on the table, and I want to make sure I tell you that. But next slide, Joe. Safety of principal is number one. But liquidity is too. You know why? Because when you got to spend your money, you got to spend your money. And what that entails is a process and an analysis, and which I have a team in place to do that, and we'll talk about that in a second. And then finally, yield. We want it to be, we want the money to be safe, so we invest only in investment grade, which is in that AAA category. Corporations like Google, for example. You know, it used to be General Motors and General Electric and all the now, no, don't even go there. But Apple, Google, some of the top companies in the world, you go with those kind of corporate bonds, or you go with the U.S. government, whether it's treasuries, agencies, a variety of different bonds available in that category. The investment management team looks at what is going to yield us the best, but still make sure that we're going to hit the maturity dates that are set by the client. I run this, my quote practice, my investment practice is just like I did it when I was a financial advisor. The clients call the shots, and I ask the questions so that they can achieve what they want with that money. So next slide, Joe. So what do we invest in? These are the things that we've been talking about. I haven't engaged in local government investment pools at this point. Not sure if the risk reward is there, but that certainly is an option. Next slide, Joe. So, how do we invest? It's how much money do you want to invest? When do you need your money back? What is your spending plan? And we run the gamut. Transportation says, here's our money. We'll come back in about 3 years. And oh, by the way, keep investing, keep investing. Keep investing. So that's the way they are. ARPA, Donna, I need $2 million next month, so get on it. Now, actually, they do have a spending plan in place, and I do follow that. But that is what's happening with ARPA. ARPA is federal funds that we received a number of years ago, and now projects are coming to fruition. Some of you know about that. So they need their money to pay for water treatment plants that are happening in, let's say, Marengo. And they've made a lot of money. They've made, I think, close to $4 million with the money that we've received. But now they need that money to give to local governments. So we've got the gamut, and I want you to understand that we achieve that for the client per the client's direction. So next slide, Joe. So let's look at your bank balances. And what you see is, and by the way, you guys, you have a lot of dough. It's a very enviable place to be. What we have highlighted here is your lowest balance as of May of 2024 was 2.7 million. Your highest balance was November of 2024, and that was 9.1. But what you're sitting on right now is 7.2 million here in August. So you have a lot of money. And I want you to think about this in terms of, if you are trying to do the right thing with the money you have in your family's account. You don't keep it all in the checking account. You put it into various investments. And that is where we're at with the cash balances that you currently have. There is quite a bit in which you have an opportunity to invest. There isn't, based on the outflow, there isn't an indication that you're not keeping up with money coming in and money going out. Okay, next slide, Joe. So let's give you this very wordy slide. I hate this, but you know what? You deserve the details. So what are you getting today? You are getting about 4.17% in interest. Remember, I told you you're getting that, and that is basically Fed funds rate of about 4.33. That is the happy group that's in the news lately. And they have potential rate cuts that are going to be occurring. But right now, annually, you're getting about $166,000, $166,800 annually, assuming that you're getting that over the next 12 months. However, more than likely, if you're watching the news, you know what I'm saying is absolutely the truth, and that is that we're looking at projected interest rates cuts, and what I've done is just said, let's do a rate cut of 25 basis points, meaning we're talking about 75 basis points over the next year. So what does that mean? You're not getting 4.17 anymore, guys. Nope. Because the rate that we get from the bank, which is a deal that we've had with the bank for a while, and it's a great deal, it really is, but you are not going to get that 4.17. You are going to be declining to probably somewhere around 3.42, assuming that what the Fed has indicated that they're in a rate cutting, okay? So we're looking at somewhere between $136,800 and upwards of $166,000. Okay, so now let's talk about a different scenario. And it isn't that you're getting bank interest, but rather you're having your money professionally managed by one of my investment teams, okay? And we're going to talk about what the steps are that are entailed with that. But, and by the way, I'm saying based on just a very cursory review, and I hope nobody takes offense at me saying 4 million is probably easily in the realm of possibilities based on this tiny little snapshot, which is not enough. We need to have a deeper analysis, but let's just assume, again, 4 million, okay? So 4 million is the basis for the numbers I'm showing you. So you give the 4 million to a professional investment management team who does this kind of process all day long and yet tailors it to our client. And what are we talking about? We're looking at something like, I was initially looking at 4.4 annual rate, but it's probably actually about 4.8. I talked to one of my investment advisors on the way prior to the meeting, and he's like, yeah, no, you're probably looking at, if you're looking at 1 to 3 years, you're probably looking at about 4.8. And if you are, in fact, that, you're looking at substantially more money. And why is that? Well, one, of course, the yield is much higher. Bonds do much better than a bank rate. But there's another reason, and that is that with bond investment, you lock into those bonds that you've invested in. You buy the bonds and you hold them in your portfolio for the durations that you establish. And once you do that, you have that rate regardless of whether or not the Fed cuts their rates, because you've locked in. You've bought a bond that generates that kind of income. Now, in this case, we're not buying a bond, we're buying an entire portfolio. And the portfolio then has some bonds that are generating over 5% and some that may be 3.85. And the overall portfolio is what generates the number I'm talking about, which again is about $192,000, substantially more than what you're getting now. Had we invested sooner, hindsight being 2020, we would have seen even more attractive rates. So, okay, next slide. So again, I want to emphasize what we're looking at is, 2026. I really think it's in the realm of possibility for both of these numbers. You're looking at, somewhere around that 136.8 versus that 192, and potentially that extends beyond a year. It extends further. Why is that? Because potentially, upon analysis, there may be a decision to have some of the portfolio extend beyond, let's say, that year time frame. And certainly there may be an analysis finding that would indicate that. So next step. Next slide, excuse me. So what's this going to take? Well, the first thing is I would have my investment team come out and visit with whoever you designate on your board. It can be the entire board, it can be your executive director, it can be your executive director and key people. It is about understanding what is the spend plan for the next year, 2 years, and potentially 3 years out, okay? That then leads to identifying an amount. Again, I chose $4 million. I think $4 million is appropriate based on my snapshot, but that is not that is not an appropriate way to come up with the appropriate number. You may have spending going on that we're not aware of, for example. You don't want to not be liquid. You've got to always have your liquidity. And I understand there's some questions about revenue. I do understand you're getting better revenues over the last months, and I'm sure that's been a very heartening, good thing to see, that you have some increased revenue. So, in any event, you next want to talk about what's your spend, i.e. your return of principal. Keeping in mind that in addition to the principal that you may want to spend, you also have income that is rolling off on a monthly, quarterly, 6-month, and annual basis. And that can be pretty nice income as well. Then you also need to identify who are the key advisors, who are working with me on a regular basis. Is it all the board? Is it key people, et cetera? I do investing for the Senior Services Grant Commission. And what's interesting about them is that they have just a few key people that meet with me, and then they invite me like annually to their meeting to answer questions and to talk about the next year's investment. So, it can be done any number of ways. Then, once we have some of that administrative stuff done, and by the way, this can happen very quickly based on what you want to do, we set up the investments, and then we begin providing reporting. One of the elements of our investment practice is we are providing quarterly reviews to our clients. So I see transportation every quarter, and we have a great reporting that's done with them. I meet with, all of them, but obviously transportation's my favorite because we make the most money for them. So anyway, and we can provide reporting as you're interested. But let me just say this: reporting does a couple things that are kind of cool. One, we tell you how much you made that quarter. What's the real juice of this whole thing that you're doing? And that's always cool. But secondly, we also provide for you a projected schedule of money that you're going to be receiving each month from the interest that rolls off. And that is very helpful to you because that helps you decide what your spend plan may be and the amount of principal you may need back. So next slide, Joe. Okay, hey, there we are. So, and I have a fabulous investment administrator who makes my life so fabulous, Lindsay. So, and she's great. Lindsay knows my investment administrator very well. So, yeah, yeah. And that was just how it happened. Woohoo! So very nice. Okay, you guys, come on. You got some questions for me. I want to hear them.
I have a question.
Yeah. Hey.
Okay. You on the thing you said we have about 7 million, and you would.
Can you talk into your?
7 million, and you said you would invest this. You're talking about $4 million. You would invest.
I was saying that for the purposes of this conversation, but based on what you have in your account,
right.
You don't seem to. You haven't gotten below 2.7 million over the period of time we looked at from December 2023 to today. Right. So that seems like that could be a good number for you, but ultimately it does require an understanding of how much you're distributing for your clients and expenditures that you may have internally. Okay. Yeah, and making projections for, cost of living, et cetera. Yeah.
And if you invest, because I'm not a real good investor. Okay, I'm not really a good investor type person. I have, but anyway, if you invest, is it tied up then for 3 years, 2 years? How long is it tied up, our money?
It depends on the requirements that you establish. We have, maturities will vary. Right now, what we're seeing is investing 1 to 3 years with a bond portfolio. We're looking at about 4.8% return. Okay. When you invest, in durations shorter than a year, you're seeing lower yields. And if you invest outward beyond, that 1 to 3 years, you're seeing yields closer to 5. So there is incentive to do that, but you can't do it if you have liquidity requirements. And so we gear the investment maturity dates to the dates in which you need the money. So it's tailored to what MHB establishes of, i.e., I want my money back on this day. Okay. Or, said a better way, I need this amount of money back to me by this day. And then we gear it up. So a bond would say, or a group of bonds would mature the month before. So we have plenty of time to get it into your bank account, and it's ready for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are my questions.
Great. Okay. Thanks. They're great questions. Thanks, Connie.
Mm-hmm. Oh, excuse me. I got to.
She's the boss.
There you go.
So Donna, the snapshot of our bank account definitely doesn't tell the full story. But in summary, we will have to pull from our dollars and won't, just to continue funding agencies the way that we have each year. So our overall cash flow is going to go down year over year. And based on some projections we've done, that'll likely come to a break-even point as our sales tax revenue goes up somewhere in 2030, 2031. So my question for you is, if we move forward with something like this, if we, after that cash analysis, put forth, let's say, a 4-year plan where by 2026, we can lock up this much, but then we need that much release, but we can hold, a smaller portion for, let's say, a second year, a third year, a fourth year. Does that impact the yield, or does that make the rate change each year, or do we lock in a portion?
Right.
now?
So, a number of very good questions and comments. And as I mentioned, the snapshot, your point is an excellent one in terms of you looking out 4 years, you see a situation where your reserves will catch up with your spending. I think that's kind of what you said.
Yeah, our bank account will only go down for the next 3 to 4 years.
Yes. And so given that, it's incumbent upon then doing the projections and doing them in a variety of ways with the investment management team. They call it a cash flow analysis. That's exactly what it is, in which you're looking at, I'll interpret what you've stated as kind of a tiered approach of, by this date, we need this much money freed up, but we still have this other amount, and so that tier is going to be spent. Then we have the second tier, and then that money will be spent, and so forth. And that, another word for that in the investment world is laddering. And it's a tried and true practice that we would absolutely leverage in this account. And it would yield differently. Right now, we're seeing shorter yields in that 3.8%, where 1 to 3, we're looking at 4.8. And then beyond that, potentially upwards of 5. Again, this is in a portfolio environment where we have a number of different types of investment instruments, types of bonds that we would use. But the idea that we invested and now we can't touch it is not what I do for a living for you guys. No way. What I do is I want to know when you need the liquidity. This is taxpayer money. And there's two things. They got to get their money back. And secondly, the organization tasked by law to spend it has got to have it when they need it. And so that's why this thoughtful process of cash analysis is really important, and having it done by experts that have tools and Q&A process to do it well, I think is also a real benefit.
Great.
Does that answer your questions?
It does.
Okay,
yeah.
great. Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you. Hey.
Ray.
Hey, Linda. Hi, Linda.
Ray's,
Yeah, well, I get...
I had Ray
Hello?
on. I'm
There you
sorry.
go. Can you tell us about the cost and how you get paid in this
I don't
scenario?
get paid. I get paid by getting to be your treasurer. So I act like I'm making money doing this because I love doing this, but I actually just get paid a regular salary like all the employees / electeds. Okay?
And what about the investment team?
The investment team, however, does get paid. They get paid 10 basis points. And so that is about 1/10 of a penny in relative to $1. So, I think on a portfolio like yours, I'm just gonna guess they may make a few $1,000s off of this. And I absolutely give you a dollar number. But it's a great question, Linda. But here is the way that you can, get a better handle on what does that really mean. And that is, if any of you do 401k or 457 investing, you know that you never want to pay 100 basis points, which is 1% for an investment, because that's 1%. 1% of everything you make goes to that investment management team. There are reasons why it's appropriate, et cetera. I can tell you about that later if you want to talk about it. But generally speaking, an ETF is about 3 basis points. If you get a good Vanguard ETF, like their S&P 500 ETF, which is a great ETF, you'll pay 3 basis points. This is 10 basis points for the active bond management, and so is very, very reasonable. And I think the risk management, as well as the bond marketplace that they have access to, is exceptional. And this is what they do. They serve public institutions. I will also say that I've had investment teams come to me with the opportunity to invest with them, and it would only be 18 basis points or 15 basis points, and I couldn't get them out of the office quick enough. These guys I felt were extremely reasonable, and I'm very, very excited about them and bringing them on. I have another investment manager as well, and he's exceptional. Again, his price is also 10 basis points. Great. Thank you, Linda.
So are these people new to you, new to the county, or?
Yeah, the PTMA is new. They are coming on board. They are going to be managing right off the bat. They will be managing about $45 million, our general fund and our ARPA fund. And so they will have some work to do in those areas for sure. And I think having another smaller account would be appropriate. I'm just trying to load balance. I think that both of the investment managers are wonderful. You may remember Greg from North Shore, who came here, and he's excellent. But, I have to load balance in the best interest of, their workloads and their other clients, et cetera. Yeah.
Ray?
You were mentioning laddering.
Yes.
Within the laddering, are you looking at, for liquidity purposes, making a blended tranches by maturity so that we were able to access different amounts but still gain the most upside to the rate?
Mm-hmm. Well, a tranche is, that's more the bond seller side. Tranches are groups of bonds, and in this arena, it's a different arena where our bond seller may buy tranches. Which again is groupings of bonds. But in our case, we have a broker, I should say an investment manager who does brokering, but he is our fiduciary. We have brokered before, but I think investment management is far better. And they will buy a specific bond, or they will buy a series of bonds. But the due date, the maturity date, is going to be oriented towards the liquidity requirement that you're talking about, which is extremely important. But because we're not dealing about, a bond portfolio, that is $1 billion or something like that. We're relatively small. We look at individual issues, generally speaking. We don't generally buy $1 million bonds. We have, and we generally buy, maybe $100,000 bonds. And then we're gearing it towards the, you mentioned the due dates, but there's more than just due dates. There's also the types of bonds that you're investing in, and the payment schedule should also be taken into account. And then, of course, as you mentioned, the maturity date. So, the bond investors have to be very sophisticated in managing these types of portfolios. And they are. And they do that, yes. But thank you for the question. Can I answer anything else?
I think that's good right
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Yeah.
I have another question.
We didn't press your thing.
I did.
Oh, there it is.
I have a question about other departments that you've worked with when considering their specific fund balance reserve policies. So for ours, historically, we'd had a 5-month fund balance reserve policy. We've just recently shifted it downward to a 3-month fund balance reserve policy with some suspicion that we might need to move it back up to 4 months. We don't know yet. My question for you from an investment standpoint is what is the suggestion for money like that? Meaning, we might need it. That's why you have a fund, balance reserve policy. And yet, in the history of our mental health board, we have really pretty much never used it.
Yes.
So it's sort of an interesting dilemma as we would have further discussion as we think about our fund balance reserve, quantities, which is a changing number with the sales tax at this point. What do you only lock that up a year at a time? What have other departments done with that?
I just had this same conversation with our CFO earlier this week. And I think they may have some liquidity requirements. And they currently take their fund reserves, and that is all invested. It is invested assets. It is not kept in cash. And we've had it as high as 25 million. We're a little less than that right now. But in any event, what my recommendation is particularly with some of the cash flow issues that we may face, and that has to do with looking at what are the liquidity needs, and rather than putting everything as, relatively longer term, we should be looking at a little bit more sophistication. And that's what we're going to have our new investment manager look at. So potentially you say, you know what, we want to have another, let's say, $500,000 in 6-month investments. They could be CDs. They could be other types of short-term corporate bonds, et cetera. They're giving us some good rate. It's got to be better than the bank rate, or just keep the bank rate. And then you go from there, and you say, okay, going back to that tiered situation. But the county takes their reserves and they invest them. They are in investments, and they have the same attitude as you guys do here with the reserves. We know what our cash inflow is. We know what our cash outflow is. We know we're not needing our reserves at this time, and so that's where they're at. I'm thinking, though, let's hedge our bets a little bit better and have a little bit more cash flow coming off. Now, we'll sacrifice yield for that, but what's number one? It's return principle, of course, but the second is liquidity.
Okay.
That trumps the yield situation every time. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I knew that would be a conversation we might have, so I appreciate it.
No, I'm glad you asked it. It was a good one. Yeah. So.
And I just want to chime in. Thanks for the presentation. It's really informational and very helpful. And I think since the last time you were here, Lindsay and Melanie have done a great job putting together like that plan that Lindsay was referring to that gets us out to 2030, 2031. Right. And I think it's very solid. And I guess I would like to start with that, I mean, how that I foresee this going is starting with that plan, having the conversation with the investment team that you talked about, and making sure those numbers we're almost a year into our sales tax now, so we'll have sort of that year's worth of information there, and really refining those numbers to current day, and then making those projections out. And it's a good point in the fund balance. We haven't talked about that end. And how I foresee it is there's like three different, the cash flow, the fund balance, and then that fairly longer term, which is really only going to be like a year or two. But,
Yeah.
I think can take advantage of the information that you provided. So I see no reason. We don't have to decide tonight or whatever. We can go to finance and talk about it further. But I mean, I guess that's where I see this going. And I don't really see any reason not to go that direction. So I appreciate the information, and I think we should take advantage of it.
Good. Well, thank you, Carolyn. I appreciate you, encouraging me to come. And Bridget, for you saying, no problem, let's get you on the schedule. And of course, I'm such a goof that I'm late, so I apologize again. I don't usually apologize twice, but I think it's well-deserved to do that. So what I'd like to suggest is, as a group, you guys, please take Carolyn's recommendation and let me know if you're ready. And what is so nice about this investment advisor like Bill is that he and his team will come here. They will meet with you, and you have that opportunity to assess them. And then we can move forward with that cash flow analysis. And I don't mean to sound like, the used car salesman, but I am going to tell you that the sooner you move forward, at a minimum with the analysis, the better, because we are seeing rates slipping, because the rates seem to be part of the fabric of where our federal government is right now, and potentially the economy as well. So the sooner we can move forward, the sooner I think you guys can lock into some really good yields. And the longer you wait, the less attractive those rates will be. So, and I'm available for questions at any time. You can call me anytime, ask me anything you want.
I agree with Carolyn. I think that we should move forward with it.
Yeah.
At least,
When is your next finance committee meeting?
Linda has a question.
September
Oh,
16th,
okay,
okay.
good.
Yeah. Hey, Linda.
I'm sorry, Linda. I'm looking at,
I don't actually have a question. I was going to make a motion, if
Okay.
that's appropriate.
Sure. Go
It's
ahead.
not on the agenda, so we can't? Okay.
No, but we can say, move ahead.
Okay.
Finance
I would like to move ahead with this. I agree with Carolyn that this is a good presentation, and we can't make any decisions till we have the analysis done.
Yeah, okay, great.
I agree.
Well, good. Well, then, thank you very much, Linda, for your vote of confidence. I appreciate that. I met Linda for my first time last night at another meeting, so it's so cool to keep seeing you again. I love that. So what I would like to suggest is that I'll work with Bridget to get the cash flow plan that you've already put together, and I'll get that to my investment group, and then he'll do the analysis, and then he will be ready to present at the September 17th finance meeting. 16th. We already know I have a problem with flipping numbers, don't I? Oh. So 16th. So
5 o'clock.
hey, 5 o'clock. Okay. Hey, Bridget, could you send me an invite on that? Thank you. My failings are very obvious, so, there we go.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
Oh,
Really,
my
it was
gosh.
very informative, and we are going to move forward, so,
Good. Good. Well, thank you all very, very much. It's really been a pleasure to meet with you, and thank you for wanting to move forward. And we'll do very good things with our people's money, for sure. So,
thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right. Thank you.
And thanks for coming. Yeah. Okay.
Good job, Joe.
All right. I then need a motion to adjourn this meeting. Second?
Second.
All those in favor? We're adjourned till September.